Okay.
Now calling the meeting to order at 9:02, I believe it is. Do I have approval of the minutes for Tuesday, September 19th, 2023?
You do.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discussion? What discussion? Do I have public comment? Sorry. Any public comment? No public comment. And so back to the.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Trevor. You did a fabulous job on the Whale Park thing. I mean, you guys working night and day. I mean, it was 3 days and it was the
Patch repair,
yes, the patch repair. That was
Good, right?
real good.
nice.
Yeah.
Turned out really great.
Patch repairs are looking great. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to the first utility relief request. And this is Sherwood Apartments Cascade Management.
There's an external leak. They had it repaired by the plumber. You know, staff recommendation was to approve, and so I would move to approve this request.
I would second that.
Okay,
And it's also excellent that all three that we're going to be talking about have eye on water. So it's starting to really be a tool, good tool.
all right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any comment?
Other than it was literally fixed the same day. I thought was great. Bang.
So, Madam Chairman, on the next two, I'd like to have a little discussion, maybe together. We have Scott Adler, which was a hose left on by a neighbor. And then we have Stephen Gulick, which is a defective charged outdoor hose. So you kind of have the same situation where you have an external leak or use of hoses. In Scott Adler's case, it was apparently he was relying on a neighbor, and I think he states in his application, I can't ask her to pay the bill in good conscience or something like that. And then Stephen Gulick says, I'm requesting relief for the 7,000 lost gallons. I think these are both it kind of brings to light things that I've mentioned in the past, whether these are approved or denied. Either way, these two applicants are going to pay for 100% of the water. Either way, denied or approved. That's our policy. There's not a circumstance where people don't pay for 100% of the water usage. And I think you can tell by some of their language, they're expecting us to consider giving them some relief from the water usage. When in fact, all we're really doing is, and all we ever do as a committee is decide whether they get relief from the sewer side of the bill. In each of these cases, clearly the water didn't go into the sewer, the city didn't provide the service. So I'm intending to I guess vote to reverse the staff recommendation because I think they're both to deny. Both of them responsibly used eye on water to discover the leak. They follow the rules. And I can't in good conscience approve or support them being charged the sewer bill on top of this, almost as a penalty for a service that wasn't provided by the city. And I don't know, maybe Tessa, you can weigh in. These were staff denial recommendations. And the basis was,
Well, I was going off of our
Yeah.
earlier and continued interpretation of the policy that these aren't water leaks, these are user error.
Yes.
And
Yes.
multi equipment on the customer side and of the cities, which is how we use the policy thus far.
Oh, yeah.
and that's justification for charging them for a service that wasn't provided by the city.
It was my justification for making that recommendation.
Yeah.
based on-
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not even saying you're necessarily wrong in relation to policy, but it doesn't make logical sense to me, or I almost doubt the city's authority to be charging for sewer that wasn't used. So anyway, we'll come around to it. I'm probably going to vote no.
No, I totally agree with that. It's operator error. It was something that was done outside, and I always go back to my analogy. If I leave my sprinkler system on and it's my
Right.
fault.
I completely agree with that. They're gonna pay for all the water, 100% every
Right.
drop.
So,
But does operator error justify the city charging for a service the city didn't provide? I don't see the logic in that.
I have to tell you, I had a water leak that didn't go in the sewer for, I think a year. And it was my error because I just didn't do anything and I paid for the whole thing. And we have a policy, we have a policy, we work through the policy.
Yep.
And we're trying to do water conservation. If we go back now, my feeling that if we go back now and say, let's help this people, other people are gonna come back.
I just don't see it as helping those people.
Well,
They're paying for every drop of water they use. And now the city's coming on top with basically a penalty and saying, not only that, we're going to hit you with a sewer bill that wasn't used anyway. It's like, to me, it's like twisting a knife. Anyway, and these people, I can almost assure you are expecting relief from the water
I'm
side.
sure a lot of people will be expecting.
Yeah, and they're not going to get it under either denial or approval. They're not going to get it. But when you deny, now you're going to hit them with the sewer bill and it wasn't used. I made my point. It's not, I'm not trying to, so we can go on and, formally.
So let's see, do I have a motion to approve or deny for the first one, which is
well, Doug, you kind of started it, you opened up a little bit, but I would say deny. I mean, that was my first reaction, is that it was operator error. You pay for what you do, and then next time you make sure that you don't.
I
have
agree with that completely. You pay for what you do.
Yes,
An operator error is irrelevant as to whether you use the sewage system or
Correct.
not. They are paying for what they do. They're paying for every single drop of water. And
Yeah.
I don't think they should pay for something that there was not, that there was no consequence based on the operator error did not lead to a consequence.
but then do we need to change our policy? See, that gets into a whole new thing about,
have to go back to, redoing the policy.
Can I say one thing here? This scenario brings up another scenario. Years ago, we received a leak request for a resident who had an outdoor shower. And a transient walked by and decided to take a shower on the outdoor shower on the backside of this resident's home. Walked away, didn't shut the water off, and they had a humongous water bill. This is the same, this is human error. And I remember at that time, the customer got frustrated because we denied it. And they made modifications to their outdoor shower system, so you just couldn't walk up and turn some
perfect.
handles. And so maybe this customer, since it's human error, take the human equation out of it. Do a different system to turn on their faucet. They have key systems, water key systems for their hose bibs.
Yep.
Take out the human error.
Once again, I just go back to, they are paying the 100% consequence for their human error. They're paying 100% consequence. We're just adding this kind of this negative consequence on top of it. Wasn't their operator error led to a consequence of using water. They're going to pay for all of that 100%. So now for the city to come in and say, well, not only that, we're going to charge you for the sewer too, which is not a consequence of the operator error. It didn't happen. So
Right, Doug's just debating the aspect that we had talked about several times in your review, and that is the sewer aspect of this particular scenario. But as you guys voted, that's what your ordinance says, so your policy. So for today's purposes, you've got to follow this unless you raise.
I'm not sure we're not.
Want to go back and modify that section of it.
That's a whole new ballgame.
I'm not sure we're not following it. The rule says this committee only looks to give relief for the sewer side of the bill. That's what the policy says. We don't even look at really the water side. In this case, since our charge is to look at the sewer relief side of the bill, I don't think it's appropriate to be charging. I'm not sure it is outside our policy. But That being said,
So Doug, can you cite in the policy that you guys voted on where you feel that the committee has the ability to do that?
that's not the question. When you're governmental, when you're a governmental agency, you have to cite to the policy that allows you to charge them
That's
sewer bill.
That's what I'm asking you. So where in the policy?
No, it's, you have to point to where you, and I do not see in the policy where in this situation, we're not allowed to not charge them for the sewer bill. Yeah, in the governmental situation, you have to have the authority to take the action you're taking, not the reverse of that. And I don't see in our policy where the city cannot grant relief for a service that is not provided.
It's not provided.
It's not.
See, that's where I guess,
You're charging them a big bill for a service that wasn't provided. Sewer wasn't used.
That's not the way I understand our policy.
I don't either.
We went through it. quite a bit. I mean, we discussed this.
Right,
Okay,
at
Yeah.
length, totally.
Water was used, like you said, it
Mhm.
went to the sewer, but that, that happens. And I do agree that, human error without us taking that point and make sure that, how do we know this is not gonna happen later? I think the part is we need to follow. I understood the policy. That's how we decided to continue, to do it. And so do I have a motion
just
to?
let me make one last point. If there are other instances where we have external leaks, like the first one,
Mhm.
that then go into the sewer system, give relief from, we give relief from the sewer, right? And these two were intending not to because it's operator error. I don't see the distinction.
When do we give relief to sewer?
Yeah, well, on Shorewood Apartments, didn't we just do that?
Yeah. Well, one of the
We just
reasons,
did it.
yeah, well, I think that's one of the reasons we individually account for each one in a separate, if they submit it, we have to then make a judgment. Operator error, you pick up the bill, like Trevor said, it's a teachable moment. You then make sure that won't happen again.
Well,
If you just say, hey, it's okay, people are gonna be
I
very
prefer the
lax.
staff recommendation that it's not a leak as opposed to operator error, because if it's operator error, I think you're only authorized to charge for the consequences of that operator. And to go under the theory that this is not a leak, that's a different question.
I think we discussed operator error too, faulty parts, operator error. That was, I remember talking about that a lot.
Right.
We did this for months.
Even follow the purview of the leak utility request.
That's what I'm getting back to. See, now that's a different. I'm kind of agreeing with that. If you're saying this is not a leak,
They shouldn't.
then, see, then, right, if this is not a leak and it's not within the definitional process, I'm having trouble with the operator error justification. And Tessa originally said it was because it's not a leak. I can go with that.
Question is, if it's not a leak, should we even be looking at it?
Correct.
Because
And
it's
remember,
not-
you guys debated that before. And you said, what is a leak, right? And so
We even be looking
right
at it.
back where we started again.
We just don't even look at it and then they pay and then we. should
Well, I
not be
think a
doing-
leak, I think using 7,000 gallons of water to me is a leak. It's water that is just going into the, it doesn't matter if it goes under or whatever, but it is leaking out.
I think I see your point, Doug, that it's not a leak, so we should not even be looking at it. So it's not our problem.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
They just.
Yeah, so I guess I just make the point about getting focused on operator error as opposed to the definition of a leak.
If it's not a leak, it's operator error and it clearly says operator error, then we just don't deal with it.
Well, no, so if it's not a leak, we don't deal with it.
It's not a leak, so
Yeah.
it's an operator error, so I don't see how it should be coming to this committee.
So in your policy, in the first paragraph, that it instructs folks of what a utility leak adjustment policy is. One of the bulletized items says credits granted are only for water leakage. It doesn't say a leak. It's a general statement of water leakage, because that goes back to you guys debating define a leak. And we had the same conversation about what is a leak? Someone that inadvertently didn't shut it off all the way, or a failure in the infrastructure. Remember that debate? And so what you guys decided on was to leave it a more general statement and not really hone in on
Right.
the cause of the water that's flowing out. But you said credits granted are only for water leakage, not flowing into the wastewater treatment system. It doesn't, you didn't define how it occurred.
Yeah, we didn't say
You
any.
just said it needed to be addressed within a certain length of time. That lends itself to our conservation, act quickly, get it dealt with, right? But you didn't explore the cause in your debate. That's where you pulled back and said, well, let's go water leakage and let's not try to define a leak. The water's escaping, we want them to deal with it. That's the real goal.
Yeah, I don't think I made it into our form.
Not flow into the wastewater,
Right,
right?
right. So to me, that supports.
And I think that's where the approval came from.
Well, here's the thing, going back,
Don't want to-
going back to Trevor's,
Son, I wasn't here when this one got looked at, but that's a staff perspective.
Yeah, I don't think that definition made it into our form, but.
Well, maybe we have to-
That supports.
maybe we have to revisit it.
Our
Going
going here is not kind of relevant.
All right, but going back to Trevor's idea of the outside shower, is that a leak? If somebody took a shower and left the water running,
But remember, we're not defining the,
I understand, but that was denied.
not defining the
Not defining
cause. We're just saying you've got water that's escaping and we want you to conserve.
Correct.
So we put together a policy that drives you to fix it early. And we're going to give grace if it didn't go into the wastewater.
Yes,
Period.
yes, that's the kind of point
That's where you guys ended up after months.
We have to change our language.
I don't know if we do.
No?
I think you did a great job.
Okay, very good.
I don't know if we do.
So does everybody agree that we're denying this?
No, I mean, why? Why are we denying it? The operator error? I don't think that's a thing.
Okay.
Did it go in? It's a leakage. They got to pay for 100% of the water. That's what it says.
I mean, and
Did it go into the sewer system? No.
we just
Okay.
need to remember, don't try to define leak. Don't try to focus on the cause as much as the fact that there was water escaping. Did they fix it within your timeline?
Yes,
And did it go into the sewer system?
yes.
And that should be what's driving, based on your policy.
Like-
That's what should drive your decision.
Okay. Well, I'll go along with consensus, but I go back to my example of my irrigation. If I have a problem and it's leaking, is that my problem or just, hey, it's okay? We'll cover the
It's
bill.
100% your problem. Nobody's covering any bill. You're going to pay for all the water. Didn't go into the sewer. City didn't incur any costs. It's 100%, still 100% your problem. You're paying for all the water.
Okay.
And this is the debate you guys had
So
originally.
here, are they paying for the water?
You're paying for the.
Yeah, they're paying for the water. Both these applicants are going to pay for all the water they use.
Okay, very good.
They're going to pay the maximum penalty.
Okay,
I don't see why they need to pay something on top for a service the city didn't provide. It doesn't make. any
okay, and
sense.
that, have we discussed that before?
And
Okay, we have?
And
Okay.
where you guys came in was your time frame that you set for them to be able to get a relief. Did they fix it quickly?
Yeah.
You were trying to balance the whole
True.
drive towards conservation and the realization that Doug made that they're still paying for the water. So really the decision is, did it go in the sewer system?
Right.
And did they get it
Right,
rapidly?
right. That's really all this committee looks at.
So if I understand, to make it simple, hopefully, is that then we would not charge them for the sewer?
In this policy, that is correct.
Okay,
Didn't go into the sewer, you would not
I
charge.
can buy that. I can understand.
Therefore, you would approve their request
Yes,
For
for relief,
of the sewer,
correct?
that's all we can do.
It didn't flow.
not the water.
Right.
So,
They
for
still pay for
example,
water.
for example, with Scott Adler, it was $350.02. Okay? Does he pay that $350.02, but not the sewer?
Yeah, he's only getting relief for the sewer part. So look at his front page there and it's defined down at the bottom what he's getting relief on. Okay, so he's minus the sewer. Okay, because
Okay, minus,
into the sewer,
okay,
but he's paying for the water that
For-
went out into the ground.
I think that's good. I think now it's very clear for me and I
That's how you guys ended up on your policy.
understand.
Yeah. You can look at it this way. The only thing this committee looks at is it appropriate to give a customer relief from the sewer?
Okay,
We never look at, do they get relief from the water?
very
Pay
good.
for it every time.
Okay.
And in these two cases, the water did not go into the sewer.
But it's human error. It's human error.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
but does that justify,
Leak,
does that justify the city charging for a service they didn't provide?
So can I?
They're still paying for the full consequence of their.
Right, we're talking about the sewer.
They're paying the full consequence of their full human error. They're paying for all the water.
Only talking about the sewer, because remember, this is where we got mired down
Okay.
during the development of or revision of the policy.
agree.
As we kept trying to define the nature of the water escaping, whether it was a leak, human error, whatever. This is where we really got lost. Pulling back saying water is escaping, irregardless of the cause. They're paying for that. And what the leak comes in asking for is if that escapage of water didn't need to be processed through our wastewater.
Right.
That's the relief we're considering giving them. Okay,
That's all we can.
you guys ended up on a policy that was great balance between
Okay,
driving conservation. Got a tool now they can watch when they have a leak and they can fix it fast. And you defined a time frame here that if they don't fix it within that, then they're not even considered for relief, even if it went through the sewer. Okay, or didn't. They wouldn't be eligible. They got to fit your criteria here on these first 6 bullets. And you did a
These
great
people play by
job.
the rules. They,
Tend to keep going back, trying to define the leak, and that's what we got to stay away from.
okay,
Correct.
I'm okay with that as far as, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And it's clear now.
Right.
Yeah. So, and just as a point of reference, I don't know if you guys caught the last council meeting this past week, but council had the presentation of our new rate review.
Okay,
The consultant did. Council is once again looking at maybe making an adjustment to the minimum cubic feet that everybody's given to further drive conservation. Don't know if that'll happen or not, but the consultant's going to come back with some scenarios on how the rate increase is distributed, but they also inquired about what would happen if that minimum cubic feet. So their desire to continue to push towards conservation is there. I have no idea what action they'll take once the consultant provides that data. But I think you guys did a good balance in
Okay.
what you did here. I'd caution you about trying to go back and tweak it further because we're going to end up in that same spot of how do you define a leak? Because there's a myriad of reasons that water might escape. And I think you did a good job getting people to recognize it's important to use the tool. It's important to be conscientious of anything that's happening around on their property for irrigation purposes, because that's typically where these things come from. I think you guys did a great job.
Okay.
Don't question yourself now. Let's let it sit for
Yeah.
a year and see what kind of trends we're seeing come in as far as leaks now that we have the tool, a revised policy. And let's give it some time to percolate before you consider making any other.
sure. No, I'm clear now. Did it enter the sewer? If it's not, then they shouldn't be charged with that. That's very clear.
Mhm.
keep in mind, both these folks, the one that says I can't ask my neighbor to pay the bill, well, it's not even relevant. The bill's going to get paid 100% of the water. The second one said something like, I'm requesting relief for 7,000 lost gallons. They're not going to get it. They're
Nope.
always going to pay for the water.
Very
So
good.
there is a price to be paid for, whatever you want to call it, inattention, user error.
That is correct. Okay, very good. Yeah, I think I'm fine with this.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve or deny Scott Adler?
I'll make a motion that it be approved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Okay, and the approval means,
That they still pay for 100% of the water.
Right.
But they will get relief from the sewer part
Okay.
of the bill because the incident did not result in water being discharged into the city sewer system.
okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Any discussion? Please say.
that was a good discussion. I like it.
It's already done.
We wrote it till death to death. Okay, that's good.
Sorry.
Okay, it is,
It is very good.
Okay, this
I
was,
understand. It's
you guys
understood.
are doing good.
all right, the next one is Stephen Cook. Go.
Yeah, kind of the same situation.
It is. So I would once again move that Stephen Guick's application be approved because the water usage in this case, once again, did not enter into the city's sewer system. And therefore, he should get relief from sewer portion of the bill.
Sewers. So to understand Stevens, the 7,000 gallons that he specifically said I want relief from, he won't get it from the water that went out. You'll pay for the water,
Yep.
but the sewer charge he will get approved. Okay,
Because his request that came in is specifically saying, I'm requesting relief for the 7,000 lost gallons. According to your policy.
Well, yeah, and I think, like, I don't know if we need to be careful there since he specifically said that our approval does not approve that
Correct.
sentence. The approval is only within our policy, which is only relief.
but on that one,
That's a question, guys.
You go ahead.
To ask you, just so I know
Sure.
how to process this with our building department in accordance with our municipal code, because I'm looking at this and in our utility billing section, under a section called leakage. It explicitly says that customers will keep all pipes and fixtures of the customer line in repair at their own expense and will be held liable for any leakage and all damages which may result from their failure to do so.
Mhm.
So considering the way that we voted on these over the past year that I've been with this committee, I'd just like to understand where we're basing a potential approval on, so I can verify that to our utility billing department.
okay. Now, I think that we are denying the 7,000 gallons. He's gonna pay for that water, but not for the sewer.
Well, I think going to your question, Tessa, I understand the concern there. But to my knowledge, the only time that we've considered denying based on condition of the infrastructure, so to speak, is when they've had repeated leaks. For example, when they come in and say, we had a leak on the ground, we had a leak here, we have a leak there. We don't ask for a certification from the plumber. Well, what was the general health of their system? Is their system in good repair? We've never asked for that.
But we do ask for a plumber's bill and the
Yes.
plumber does status the condition of the situation on the bill. That's why we ask for it.
As to that leak site,
Yes.
but where it says they're required to keep everything in good repair,
Well, we asked for the plumber's bill because they assessed the situation of what the leak was caused by, so on and so forth. I don't recall off the top of my head seeing one that assessed their entire system. It usually assesses that situation that caused them to be dispatched for.
Yeah.
Now, in this one, it's a hose. And so,
It's a hose. So to help Tessa out there, based upon
Not
what she read, is that he is responsible for the leak of the hose, which is the 7,000 gallons. Going with Doug's thing, okay, we won't double charge him for the sewer because it did not enter the sewer in the subject, but he is not going to get approved for the 7,000 gallons.
he never would.
He never would.
Under our policy.
So we don't want to confuse him. It's, if we say approve, it's not approving the 7,000.
Yeah, well, it is weird because the code or whatever you're reading from there does not match our mission. Our mission here is only to look at whether they get relief from the sewer side of the bill or not. That's all this committee has authority to do.
Okay.
You have broader criteria that implies we have more authority than we do, keeping good.
Right,
repair,
right. But
this
he
and that, this, that.
specifically is asking for that 7,000 gallons. And I think we should address that as, no, you're not going to get that.
correct.
Okay. So it's clear.
Okay.
Does that help, Tessa,
I
or not?
will not process any relief for water.
Thank you. Hey, that's good.
Yeah, we only look at the sewer side.
Beautiful. Okay. If that's an aha moment. Okay, thank you. Doug?
And Doug makes a good point is stay away from the water aspect and focus on the sewer.
Yeah, it's not
Focus on
bad.
the sewer.
Yeah,
It simplifies everything. Don't try to define what a leak is or the originating cause of the leak. It just address the water that
correct. That makes it a lot
enter the
clearer.
sewer system and go from there.
Correct.
It's tough. I know these things get complicated.
We're past comment, but go ahead.
So I'm very confused now personally, as a citizen. If I ever have a leak or whatever, what is going on here?
If your
I'm
water
very
goes into the
confused.
sewer system, you will not get a relief. You always will pay for water,
Always pay for the water.
always. Everyone always pays for water, whatever leak it is.
Just as an example then.
Your
with-
toilet.
With this situation, with the 7,000 gallons of
Right,
water.
they just went on under the yard, yeah.
So how much is this guy gonna pay for the sewer? What's he gonna get?
He's gonna pay his normal rate.
Excuse me?
He's gonna pay what he normally pays. But we're not giving him any credit because the water didn't go in the sewer,
It didn't enter the sewer system.
but we are charging
Didn't
the water.
didn't enter the sewer, so there's no credit to be given for that.
So in other words, again, to make it simple, is that you only try to get relief if it entered the sewer. This did not enter the sewer, you pay.
So are you saying then that this man is going to be denied?
Correct.
Yes.
Well, no,
This is what I see. I don't see that it's really that clear. It seems clear.
He's going to be denied on the 7,000 gallons of usage.
his application is going to be approved.
This is what's.
Yeah, and I agree with you. His application is going to be approved because his leakage across his yard, the hose did not enter the sewer system. And by approving it, you just got to keep in mind, no matter what this committee does, approving or denied, the citizen will always pay for all the water they used, regardless of it, whose fault or what happened. And that's what these two citizens are going to pay for. They're going to pay for all their water. And that's going to happen every single time an application comes here. This committee does not have authority to grant relief for water usage. Every citizen will always pay every single time for the water they use.
What's being approved?
Right.
Relief from the sewer bill, which was not used in this case. Relief from the sewer bill because the sewer was not, that this leak did not result in any consequence to the sewer whatsoever.
Was he charged for sewer?
That's why it's here, is to see whether it's appropriate to charge for sewer, just
What is he gonna be charged? I don't understand.
for all the water use, all of it.
I agree with you, Jan, a little bit. We're denying the 7,000 gallons.
No.
As a user, I'm just saying that if I submit something and they say it's approved, I think I'm getting credit for whatever I
A
submitted.
lot of people do.
The water.
Okay, then that's not right.
Weird.
It's extremely weird.
This is not good.
No.
The form says the only thing that the citizen is allowed, possibly allowed, is relief from the sewer bill. That's the only thing that could possibly be allowed.
Jen, have you seen one of our forms?
Yes,
Okay, so that's what we're going through.
but I'm hearing even from you three there, a lot of confusion. And I'm confused, and maybe Tessa too. I'm feeling like there's something off here.
Okay.
So I would like
Okay,
to know.
Karen, can you do me a favor? Will you explain that again one more time?
Right, as far
Let's
as
just stop and listen to
you
Karen.
pay for the-
She can explain to us
I
what it
I
is.
think you guys captured it. As I look at this request, he's specifically asking for relief for the 7,000 gallons lost. That is his specific request to the committee to consider. Okay, I'll start there. Our policy is that we don't give relief for lost water. He pays for that. So the only thing he would be eligible for would be the sewer portion. And your decision is based on did it or did it not go through the sewer system? If it did not, you would approve the request for the sewer portion. and the rest of it would be not denied, and that would have to be explained to him. And that because of how his request came in so specific, it may be something the committee wants to consider making a modification to our actual relief form. So that is more clear to the audience when they ask for relief, because I think all of you made a good point in that the average citizen thinks that they're going to be considered relief for both aspects.
Yes,
And so we may need to further define that by our, down at the bottom, our official use only, maybe say approval for sewer portion refund.
It's on the form, but it's a little bit buried.
yeah, if it's on. the
It is on the form, but it's a little bit buried. I'm agreeing with you.
It's not very adjustment method.
Well, yeah, well, then, well, okay,
At the bottom, it says sewer amount and leak period, blah, blah, blah. But I think where it says staff recommends approve or deny, your discussion is well taken here. In this one specifically, because he specifically asked.
Right, exactly.
yeah, this may be a bit of a hybrid, but Trevor, you're right. It's right. It is right there. It is right there. I mean, all you can do, you can,
Part that, it got taken out, it would be, because they think that we would be relief, give a
Okay.
relief for water, which we never do.
So I think in this scenario, based on your question to me, it probably calls for a more definitive explanation when we notify the gentleman of
Yeah.
what he's going to get credit for.
yes,
That the 7,000 gallons in itself is not eligible for
Right.
relief through this committee's decision.
Right.
It would only be the portion that did not go through the sewer system, and that is what he's getting credit for.
Right.
Correct, Tessa?
Right.
That would be correct. I also wanted to ask though, because we updated this form in last November's meeting and council passed it in a resolution in December and added a line, and you may not consider this an irrigation system or an associated component. And that's fine, but there is a line that was added back to the form that says irrigation systems and associated components are not eligible for relief. Which I've understood in our interpretation of these to mean that hoses, watering systems.
Correct. Thank you.
Are not eligible for relief.
Mhm.
So I'm confused about how this is in line with the other relief requests that we've considered over the past year. I understand that it didn't leak into the wastewater system, but there is that provision that this would not be eligible for
Well,
relief.
I
unless
I don't think a hose is an irrigation system. An irrigation system, you can use a hose to wash your car. You can use your hose for,
It's a component though.
Or an associated.
It's an associated component.
I think Tessa's right.
how many people have irrigation?
We get down into splitting hairs, we're really setting ourselves up for every leak request that comes in. We start defining it at such a minute level
That's my concern.
that it's real, we're not being consistent. So pull
Right.
back like we did on the leak. And
Okay, I have a suggestion. If we could say somewhere, modify in the very beginning, all customers pay for all water. Period. Okay, make that statement and then just say, we will give relief on the sewer side or
I
wastewater.
agree with Trevor. It's already on the form.
If it's on the
It's on the
form,
form.
then Jan, you and I would not be confused if it's on the form.
It's clearly on the.
Now, obviously, this Steve, did not understand that.
Even in different fonts.
Yeah, right. I remember we did that.
Stand out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Trevor.
Different font, okay,
My concern right now is,
okay, good.
what Tessa just read.
Yes.
If we have that component of irrigation and other components, then we need to go back to revisit this request.
And I recognize that this is not a sprinkler or a timed irrigation system, but my understanding when I'm looking at this and recommending denial or approval, and obviously do with that what you will. But is that the intent behind this policy for as long as it's existed has been to encourage water conservation, and that's listed in the resolution that was adopted last August and last December to update this. So I'm struggling to find consistency with the intent of this policy, and I'd like to be able to explain that to our finance department, and I'd like to be able to explain that to customers.
Point well taken.
Thank you.
And your pickup on the irrigation is also a good point.
Yeah.
But I would still say an inadvertent left on hose is not an irrigation.
But as a component,
yeah,
yes.
Component means one segment of an integrated system, which would be a sprinkler system, which would be an irrigation system. A hose is like a standalone item that you can use for all sorts of things other than irrigation.
And it's like the leak, we're getting mired down and splitting hairs, and I think that's an area it gets dangerous for you guys.
Well, then what are we gonna do? Let's make it clear then.
What?
If it's not clear, let's say that the customers pay for all water
That
use.
doesn't fix it.
Well, well, how do we?
We're only debating the sewer. We're only debating the sewer.
Okay, but how do we fix this? So that like Jan is a regular she's a citizen of the city and she's saying she's confused. Okay, how do we make it clear to Jan as a citizen that the customer pays for all water?
It says it in it,
It's right on the floor.
right in it.
It's on the floor.
Okay, it's on the form, then why are we discussing it?
Because,
The line that Tessa just read to us.
Yeah, I think,
Because of that?
no,
Tessa, can you please read that again? Sorry.
no, we're
so that's in.
we're discussing it because the only thing this committee can do is grant relief
Correct.
for the sewer side. And for
Okay,
whatever reason, we have a clause that you rightly read that says if it's an irrigation leak, you're not eligible for relief, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense because those never go into the sewer system. But that being said, if it's in there, it needs to be addressed. But to make it clear, we only are ever looking at possible relief from the sewer bill in those cases where the water doesn't enter the sewer system.
all right,
We keep
then
getting hung up on water relief.
Then
There's no
Doug,
such thing.
the application then should not be approved. It should not even be taken in. Tessa should say, no, we can't do that.
Why?
Because the person is wanting 7,000 gallon relief. Okay, we can't grant that. Okay, why isn't it clear that he can't even do that? That person thinks he can get relief for the
If you
7,000.
if you deny it, he's going to get charged for the sewer.
So that's the whole thing. though.
Well, then say
Question.
that's denied, but we approve the sewer.
Then you go, as you do, in that case, you approve his application.
Okay.
He pays for all the water, doesn't pay for the sewer.
But
Okay.
The line that Tessa just read.
That's fine.
So
Okay.
can you please read that one more time without us interrupting?
Sure, and with due respect, Doug, I believe you recommended adding this to the forum, at least according to our minutes of last November.
Okay.
Irrigation systems and associated components are not eligible for relief.
They should.
Associated components is the key in the wording there.
Okay,
That is my
Consistency in
concern.
applying what
But-
associated
but-
components means is important too.
okay.
Well, to me, that means timers.
So, okay, so it's
controllers.
not clear.
It does to you, Doug, but in the sense of me as a resident, I don't have a sprinkler system, so I use a hose and a sprinkler on the
Yeah.
end of it to water my grass. And if that failed, it is a component of the
Irrigation.
irrigating that I water my grass with. That's why the general statement of all associated components.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I just don't see where a hose left on.
Should we add including hoses?
But we need to go back to this.
Make it
too,
simple.
And we make an amendment or, because if we need to follow our policy. And that's what our policy says.
Yep.
We can't, unfortunately, until we change the policy.
I agree. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Correct.
You can split hairs down to the most minute level and you'll never have enough wording that captures every single piece part of the component. That's why the general statement of all associated components.
And I don't remember exactly how this got in there. I may or may not have been a part of it. I think Karen, you wanted this in too, the irrigation part. And you were pretty insistent on it.
Most dominant cause of these requests, but it's you guys' call. But I thank you, Tessa, for bringing that up because I'd forgotten about that.
That's, yes, we definitely needed that
So-
part.
I
Okay,
mean, my position would be that this hoses in these two instances are not part of an existing irrigation system. And the water did not enter the sewer system, so my position would be the same, but it's well taken. If you guys want to under this situation, I don't think there's any problem with us retabling these, whatever you want to do, or.
I don't think we need to retable them. I think we just need to amend them. Each one of them without being.
Okay.
Step, I believe, right?
We should If you'd like to make a motion or someone would, I think we can re-vote.
Okay, so, Scott Adler, does anybody want to make a motion?
At this point, it is a approval, right, Tessa?
It is approved, so we need to amend it.
Right, because we're not gonna pay for the water.
Oh,
That's all, no, the only reason why we're doing this is because the. fact
All right,
that-
now, if, I'd love to call Scott and say, Scott, are you clear that when we approve it, you're gonna pay for all
So-
water?
So Scott is not the one, the 7,000.
No, that is Stephen.
Scott Adler is one that we're revisiting right now, and the only reason why we're revisiting that is because of the fact that Tessa read is the line that our application has, and we need to follow what we have, so we need to revisit that. So that means that he does not get approval. It's a denial
that means he doesn't, that means he would not get relief from the sewer bill.
according to our policy.
Is the sewer a set cost or does it go with what's,
Usage,
it's usage?
correct.
Okay. It's usage.
But I want to remind you guys that it's in a policy right now. We cannot. Just right now, we cannot be saying, okay, let's do it, let's not do it. It's a policy. If
Okay.
we want to revisit the policy, we need to do that at a later.
All right,
time.
I'm at a point now where basically what I'd like to do is formally suggest that we modify the one clause that Tessa read that says including hoses.
I don't think we can do that.
Well, no, we can't do that.
Have to take that back to
No.
council.
Well, we take it back to council,
Yeah,
but
but
make it clearer.
This is not gonna
that
be,
well, Doug is hung up on, he thinks it does not include hoses.
I
He
think
thinks
it's
it
certainly
includes
debatable.
Timers and all, but we,
That's what associated components means to me, not hoses.
right, but when we
Okay.
talked about it, it included
If
hoses.
the hoses was hooked up to an established irrigation system, that would,
can I stop you guys for a second?
Yeah, okay,
This is not the time right now to
Okay,
discuss
all right,
hoses or
fine.
anything else. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
all
think
right.
This, let's go back to this relief, Scott Adler. I need a motion to denied or to approve. To approve staff's recommendation, which that's.
Based on the
what-
current policy.
Correct, that's based on the current policy. That's what I am hoping to get. So
Okay. All right. I don't know,
does
I'm,
anybody approve the staff recommendation based on our policy?
which portion of our policy?
The denied, well,
What, you don't want, you don't need the reason.
it needs the reason.
Yeah, on a denial.
Irrigation, we have the irrigation and components part of our policy.
Okay.
No request will be approved based on what she read,
Okay,
the
I'm
irrigation
good with
or
that.
components. It doesn't say, it just clearly says,
Original denial was because it wasn't a leak, right? So now we're changing the staff's recommendation, the reason for the staff's recommendation, aren't we?
we are approving the
staff.
staff,
Staff recommendation actually, and I explained my rationale for it was based on the policy holistically.
correct.
If you'd like to pull out a.
Okay.
That's
Okay, it was a holistic denial, not okay.
right,
All right,
based on the policy.
Correct.
okay, okay, all right. Okay,
denial? I agree.
well, okay,
Scott,
she's gonna need a reason.
based on the policy,
Yes,
that is the that's the reason.
What's she gonna say to the customer? It is denied because?
Based on the policy, please read it. I mean, that's.
please read.
Okay. I think they're entitled to something more
Yeah,
specific,
that's fine.
but okay,
Well, I mean, there is based on the policy, that's, I mean, I get it, it just,
When we send out the letter, we will cite that statement
so I'm getting,
out of the ordinance.
right,
Good.
I don't see, we always do that, right? I mean, I don't see that, yes,
Give them a basic summary. Yeah.
it's not, he's just not. he's
I'm
not
very,
gonna
I'm
send
fine,
letters
I'm
tonight.
fine with that.
so both these people get a letter that says you're denied because your hose is an irrigation system.
It's not gonna say.
No,
It-
associated.
We don't give a reason? We don't give a specific reason?
It's not always. We
Yeah, we do.
quote the policy.
Okay, well,
Yeah, you're gonna quote the policy. I'm just asking, what are you gonna quote?
The line about irrigation.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Components being ineligible for relief.
Correct, good.
So we're saying,
We're done.
we were saying your two hoses are part of an irrigation system.
Yes, or
Right?
associated component.
Okay, that's all I'm getting at is what are we going to say and how are we going to say it?
That's what we're gonna say. That's very good.
Okay, do I have a second?
What's the,
Did I second it?
I'd make a suggestion that we let you guys write the letters now for the.
No, no,
Well, you know, that was a whole.
And then they go out,
This is,
want them to go.
this is just fine. No,
No, that's been a topic of discussion with the committee as well. I'm happy to let you guys write the letters.
Sure.
All right, so
Yeah.
the motion was on, the motion on the table was to approve staff recommendation, which that was to deny the request based on to the
and
policy.
this is a revote from our first, vote, right?
This is, right,
Reconsideration of our first vote. Okay, okay,
yes. Well, this minute would be awesome to read.
yeah.
no, it's denial.
So what you're saying is you approve staff recommendation to deny the request based on our policy.
I do.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you. Needs a second.
and just a second.
Can you do it?
I don't think
You
I can.
can't
do it.
initiate a motion, you can second one.
That's right. Okay, if you don't feel comfortable, based on our policy, I will second that. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good, thank you very much. Thank you, Doug.
Moved and second. Okay, sorry, guys, it's been tough, but good
Okay.
job. Just for following our policy. Okay, so we go back to Stephen Gug. Good. Amend that request. Do I have a motion based on staff recommendation and our policy?
Just slight distinction here, just hear me out. First one, hired a neighbor to water. That's irrigating, right? Right, I hired the neighbor to water, right?
Okay, yeah.
This one is a charged hose. Don't know, we don't know what the charged hose is for.
I've
It's
never-
still a component.
Of irrigation, how do we know that?
Splitting hairs.
Hey,
Well,
if we don't, would you like us to ask the? This
Well,
is just,
I splitting hairs, okay, whatever.
Again, remember what I said, pull back, you have escaping water. Don't
Yes.
try to define the cause of it.
Correct.
It's escaping. Did it go through the sewer system or not?
Neither of these did.
Component about the irrigation or any associated piece parts. Those are the only things you have to consider. Don't get mired down into trying to split the hairs. I think that's where we get in trouble.
I would agree. It's denied. It's part of it says here, a defective hose is the culprit.
Charged hose.
Well, whatever a charged hose is, I've never heard that term ever.
yeah, what's the charge?
You wash your car, you leave it out on the driveway and you go to the store and the hose bursts. Is that irrigation? Charged hose.
Is that human
It's the
error?
associated component.
Okay.
Is that human error?
Don't.
Associated.
I just, I did, but it,
Splitting hairs.
once again, I don't think it matters.
Question. To deny, do I have a motion to approve staff recommendation based on our policy?
Deny. Yes. You do.
You can do the same thing.
Thank you,
Same
Doug.
thing.
All right, I will second that.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Jane? Aye.
Thank you.
I again,
I think forward, it'd be good for us to print out the ordinance. Have that with the policy whenever we're looking at these,
Yes.
because we seem to
Correct.
mire down in the details and forget the things that are documented in there that's crucial to the decision. So
Right. I understand totally what we're doing. I just want to make sure it's clear to the customer.
yep, and your point's well taken.
Very good.
I totally had forgotten about the irrigation part, so I
Me too.
appreciate that.
Yep, thank you, Tessa.
Good.
I
Thank you.
thought I had it in there somewhere, and that's why I was arguing at the beginning, but then I was like, maybe I'm lost.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's move on. Thank you, guys. Good discussion. Discussion and information of public works.
Just real quick, our project status, the wastewater team got done with Maine and Ecola as far as getting the new generators installed in place and online.
Good.
So both those pump stations are done in that regard. The water team is, and on Midway and Siusla, those add-ons are in progress right now. The water team has started East Harrison water line replacement. They've done the valving for right now. The pipe will go in the future weeks. The asphalt patching, like you noted down at Whale Park, they're about halfway, almost 3/4 through all of our patches that we have. We have a few others that we're trying to dig out and get ready before the plant closes up at Bayview. And that's where we are. We'll be getting into budget time here soon, right around the October, first week of November, start looking ahead at what we're going to be doing next year. If there's something you feel very passionate about, bring it to my attention. Honestly, based on what we have on our plate right now, unless we got some sort of resource relief, our team is maxed
Right.
now. Until we get a few more of these projects checked off and off our plate, I don't see us taking on any more projects.
Yep.
We still have Midtown bathroom that'll be looked at for next year. We just did the kickoff meeting for the Talavana vehicle ramp to start looking at a potential redesign for the ADA and rebuild of the vehicle ramp, working with state parks. So I don't see us taking on any more right now. So unless there's something that you guys are feeling super passionate about, I'll be expressing that to both of our committees now that take public works resources.
Good.
Karen, what was the work that was being done in the? Oh, no, I was thinking the main bathroom. You said the Midtown bathroom, which is,
Yeah, right.
okay. They were doing some work on the other bathroom a couple weeks ago.
That was the generator.
That's the generator.
Okay.
That's the main pump station down there where those,
Oh, really? It's attached to the bathroom?
that's where our
Didn't know that.
main generator is next to those secondary bathrooms.
And what's going to be done at Midtown again?
We're doing the add-on to try to double the amount of fixtures that are in there. So the old ones will be replaced with comparable fixtures to all of our other bathrooms of stainless steel. And 2 more fixtures, I believe 2 or 3 more is going to be added in the old bathroom. And then the add-on will double those fixtures. So all of it's done and approved. We just got bids in that were ridiculous and I didn't feel good about going forward. So we're going to consider a couple options to try to reduce some cost. One may be to replace the existing fixtures in the old bathroom before we do the add-on, so that when we put the RFP back out for a quote, it's only the add-on and the contractor doesn't have to do anything to the old portion of the bathroom. So we're getting an estimate from the plumber of what he would charge to do that piece of it. So we don't have to have the contractor do that.
What are the, thank you.
Uh-huh.
What are the hours on the bathrooms being open?
Currently,
It varies. It depends on how busy the police officers are. They are in the evening time, but they shut them down around 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Okay,
And then opening back up, that varies too, depending on if they get a call, an emergency, but usually about 7 o'clock in the morning.
and that's both of them.
so summer they stay open a little later, but that's the
Okay.
typical time. And like Trevor says, it depends on what, if they get dispatched for a call, they're not worried about unlocking or locking the bathrooms. They get to it as quick as they can.
That sounds fair. There's been a couple times in the Midtown bathroom where there's obviously evidence of people not being able to
Of
get in
course,
and
Of course.
using an alternative method, but at the
They
time,
usually call over here and one of our guys will run over and open it. So.
Good thing about Midtown is we do have the portable restrooms.
Yes.
oh,
I don't get locked at night.
perfect.
But yeah, I do understand your concern because I get
Good.
calls sometimes in the summertime, 9 o'clock.
Right.
I have to remind PD and they're like, oh, we were on a car accident or something like that. So
Very good.
That's all I got.
Are we gotten any indication of whether these rains have made any difference with
About,
relation to, has these rains made any difference in relation to Daniel's report, I think from last month of
Good.
how we were in a real shortage situation and how soon do the springs get recharged?
What, define recharge.
Where we're not,
Rain helps, let's just say that.
yeah,
Right,
I
right.
don't have any specific numbers, I can give you details.
okay.
In the rain that we've had, of course, it makes a difference.
And Daniel, last meeting, really indicated that what he sees forward, if we have the same seasonal, we'll be fine. If we have the same rain amount. He doesn't have any feeling that it's gonna be short.
No, and we had an independent engineering firm evaluate that and do a study. And they came with the same conclusion. I think
Yeah.
2038 was the year they quoted, 2036 or 2038. That we would need to take a look at things and see if it still stands the way it is, or if we're seeing some dynamic change. But we are not in a water shortage by any stretch of the imagination.
I would encourage everyone to look at the water report that we just did and utilize the links that are in there. The report Karen's talking about.
Yeah, I saw that.
In that report, you can read the whole thing
Right.
and it explains about what
I
we
did.
have and what we have moving forward. Okay,
Oh, it was very, very thorough.
correct.
Yeah.
Good.
And that report is on the website, so citizens can actually read it themselves.
Yes.
But we made it easy.
Yeah, you can-
Just to click on a link.
It was in the council packet because it was brought to the council and the
Sure.
consultant gave the presentation to council, so it's out there for public
It's on
access.
YouTube, if you want to watch the presentation.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else? Anything for the good of the order?
You haven't got any blood drives or anything going?
November 12th. I was just gonna say that.
Oh, November 12th.
And then, yes, November, well, that doesn't sound right. 14th, sorry,
14.
14th.
And you know, if you don't mind, we were talking about it beforehand. The, what do you call it? The CERT training?
Community,
Oh, yeah.
community emergency response team. And yes, everybody should find out about that, sign up for that.
Yeah.
And also third Saturday, coming up this Saturday, we do the barrels at the cash sites.
Hmm.
So I'll be up at Oscar. And that way we have all the citizens can come in and refresh their barrel or even get a new barrel
Yes.
or even get a new barrel.
And can you tell us where Oscar is?
Yeah, yes. Okay, Oscar would be up off of Beach.
Old Cannon Beach Road.
Oh, okay.
Cannon Beach Road. That's right, exactly. Old Cannon Beach Road.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Reminds me of a song.
So 10/19, October 19th
Yes,
at 10:19
right.
That's right.
is the National Shake Alert.
It's the Great Shakeout and then, 10:19 at 10:19.
And the skirts will be doing
Head to
everything.
your
Correct.
associated evacuation route is a good drill.
But you guys will be doing that as the city.
I'll be at the fire department, so we'll all do it.
I'll be in Portland, but the rest of the staff will be.
That's right. You guys will be doing that. We will be doing the certs will be doing an emergency, probably the medical reserves and the animal disaster team.
Yeah.
Most likely will be doing a radio check.
That will be Tessa's last opportunity to hike the high ground with staff because the 26th is Tessa's last day.
Oh, Tessa.
She will be taking a new promotion at the city of Portland. And gonna be a city girl from now on.
It is going to be a city girl, so we want to give her a little.
Oh.
plan,
Yes, that is.
because we want her to remember.
You can take it with you.
So-
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Everybody sign this?
And-
So we are very excited for you. So that's the whole thing. We will find, so you know.
Card sitting in my place when I got here. It looked good.
Yeah, we got you a little card. And I was thinking about is that I wanted to congratulate Tessa for being able to move up to the major league. She did an awesome
Big-
job in the minors, but she's gone up to the Portland, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Are you gonna have to report to an office downtown?
A couple times a week during probation, but then I'm remote.
It's dark.
But you're remote, okay?
It's,
Pretty awesome.
downtown's not what it used to be. Good. That's a good thing.
No, that's.
I worked 30 years downtown. By the time I retired, it's,
So thank you. You will miss you.
yes,
big
yes,
Yeah,
yes, you're,
time.
And
Alright.
yeah, Portland's gain for sure.
you're
Do I
dead.
have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move to adjourn the